Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode number 156 in the book of Genesis. Joseph was introduced in chapter 37. Then there was a pause. Chapter 38 was all about Judah and him coming to repentance, which is a great life skill. But now we're in chapter 39. We're going to go back to Joseph. And the title today is, the thought is, are you in bad circumstances? Because Joseph is going to find himself in some really bad circumstances. This is a story now that continues in chapter 39 of the book of Genesis. Let me read chapter 39 and verse number 1. Now Joseph had been brought down to Egypt against his will, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, the captain of the guard, an Egyptian, had bought him from the Ishmaelites. His brothers sold him to the Ishmaelites. Ishmaelites sold him to Potiphar. Verse 2, the Lord was with Joseph. I'm going to get back to that. That's an important line here. The Lord was with Joseph, and he became a successful man, and he was in the house of his Egyptian master. His master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord caused all that he did to succeed in his hands. So Joseph found favor in his sight and attended him, and he made him overseer of his house and put him in charge of all that he had. From the time that he made him overseer in his house and over all that he had, the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake. The blessing of the Lord was on all that he had in house and field. So he left all that he had in Joseph's charge. Because of him, he had no concern about anything but the food he ate. Now, Joseph was handsome in form and appearance, and after a time, his master's wife cast her eyes upon Joseph and said, "Lie with me." But he refused and said to his master's wife, "Behold, because of me, my master has no concern about anything in the house, and he has put everything that he has in my charge. He is not greater in this house than I, nor has he kept anything back from me except you, because you are his wife. How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God?" And as he spoke to Joseph day after day, he would not listen to her, to lie beside her, or to be with her. All right, let's talk about the success of Joseph here. His master identifies and like verbalizes, I understand that Joseph is successful, so that's great. But the reason for the success is actually the Lord. His master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord caused all that he did to succeed in his hand. So Joseph finds favor in the master's sight, Potiphar's sight, because of the things that the Lord is doing, and recognizes it. So he notes that the Lord was with him. And the Lord he's talking about is not a small g God, it's the one true God. Now, Egypt was a place of many gods, small g, and perhaps Potiphar's official says, hey, that's good for you, it's working for you, and we're just going to ride that bus as it carries you, and I'll be in the wake of it, and my house is going to prosper. So it's good for you, and it's good for me as well. In the story, you don't get any indication that there's any faith along with Potiphar's accession to the goodness of the Lord. Though it is interesting that noticing is often the first thing that one sees before faith. So Potiphar has noticed, but he hasn't come to faith. Now, he is tempted by her. Joseph, let's talk about the sexual temptation. He's tempted by her to do a great wickedness, and Joseph recognizes that the wickedness and the sin is primarily against God, to say nothing of sinning against her and sinning against the husband Potiphar. Now, the husband has withheld this wife by the office and the role that she occupies, which is wife. So every husband and every spouse has the expectation that their spouse is withheld from every other. Every wife has the expectation that her wife is withheld from everybody else. Every husband has the expectation that their wife is withheld from everybody else. We say it in wedding vows, forsaking all others. So the sexual availability is regulated not primarily to restrict a person. Sexual availability is given by the Lord He provides the access for it. He provides marriage. He provides the gift of marital sexuality. So sexual sins are primarily against God because he is the one that has governed the set of rules that we are to live with. So just, in brief, he gives us the who, which is your marital spouse. He gives us the where, which is the marriage bed. He gives us the why, which is the one flesh, the delight, and the children. And he has given the when, that is, during marriage. So, well, says who? Well, says God about all those things. So that's how sexual sins are primarily against God. So Joseph knows this and tries to teach the wife of Potiphar this because he verbalizes this before her. So of note, at least so far, she hasn't even been given a name. Her name is wife. I think to make this point that she's in a relationship where this is forbidden. Of note, temptation is prevention is often what you do with her eyes. So she gets into trouble because she casts her eyes on Joseph. So watch what you do with your eyes. Watch where you cast your eyes. Watch the intention and the brain and the soul behind where you're casting your eyes. So where did we get the notion that we can cast our eyes anywhere we want and with anyone? I think pornography is primarily sort of giving access to this casting your eyes outside of the marriage bed and anywhere and anyone. All right, last point here today, and this is the main one, is that the Lord was with Joseph. And you say, wait a minute, wasn't he a slave? Wasn't he in a different country? Wasn't he betrayed by his brother? Well, so much for the prosperity gospel. I don't want to follow God like this. And I got news for you. It's actually going to get worse for Joseph in tomorrow's episode before it gets better. But the promise here is that the Lord present is through all circumstances, the good ones and the bad ones. And as you know, the world is full of bad circumstances. And I hope you're listening today because your circumstances are bad. You got attracted by the title and you find out that we have a God that is with us in good circumstances. Yay. And then we also have a God that's with us in bad circumstances. So Christianity, prevents some consequences of bad circumstances. For example, sleeping with someone else's wife, and there's going to be all kinds of bad consequences of that. So if you live like a Christian and you don't do that, you don't have that bad consequence. But for the most part, Christianity does not prevent lots of things. Family strife, betrayal, sinful acting against other humans, violence, illness, death, accidents, the aging process. You are going to have bad circumstances. The question is the Lord with you? So Lord is saying, you get me in good circumstances, you get me in bad circumstances, you get me. I hope you have the Lord today. Thanks for listening.